It's Saturday, September 24th, and this morning I'm going to start out with a little bit of a lesson, I guess. You know what GDP is? GDP is the gross domestic product that represents how healthy a company, a person, a nation is in monetary things. It's monetary value, the value of the sales of goods and services. And $45 billion is a number that I've seen in an article that I want to talk about. But there are over 100 countries in the world that do not have a gross domestic product equal to or over $45 billion. So that's a lot of money. That represents an awful lot of money. And why am I talking about that? I'm talking about that because it represents the health of a country. And I'm talking about the U.S. and the way we handle money and the way we watch our money. And I am prepared to give us a fucking F. The other day I ranted about a $250 million scam. $250 million, which is like, I don't know, compared to $45 billion, it's peanuts. So now I find out that we have a pandemic fraud that was going on. And at one point they thought it was only $15 billion. But now it's come to light that this particular fraud is over $45 billion. And that's where the gross domestic product comes into my mind. We have a fraud that's greater than the value of over 100 countries in the world. Now that's a wonderful thing to say. The United States is way ahead of 100 countries in the world in a terrible way. Now this situation came to light because a watchdog from the U.S. Department of Labor's office, the Office of the Inspector General, said in a memorandum that there were widespread schemes to steal money from a variety of federal relief programs. Now this jump to $45 billion is up from the original $16 billion that was claimed in fraudulent unemployment payments. But that was done in October of 2020. Now, at this point in time, there were increases in Social Security numbers of people who filed in multiple states. People who were deceased were collecting this money. And people who used suspicious email accounts in their claims. All which were deemed at high risk, but they still got money. And many of the people who got this money, their Social Security numbers indicated that they were in federal prisons. So we're paying unemployment benefits to people who are in federal prison? Does that make any sense? Is that a big hole in our system? You bet it is. And you know what? They're worried because they haven't got all the figures from all the federal prisons. So it could be that there's another couple of $1 billion floating around that is kind of like unannounced. Now this fraud is our fault. It's the government's fault. Because they needed to help people who were in trouble during the pandemic. And they streaked ahead to help them, but they didn't have any thoughts in mind about how to control the process. Now it's 2.5 years later and they didn't get anything under control. Record numbers of people filed. And people recognized the fact that it wasn't controllable, and so they went and they took advantage of the situation. But I can't blame the people so much. These are desperate times, and these were desperate people. Although a large majority of them probably are just thieves to begin with. Certainly those in federal penitentiaries shouldn't have been getting any money. The villains in this piece took great advantage of the federal weekly supplement, which was for out-of-work Americans. But I don't know who knew exactly who was an out-of-work American. And they were getting $600 a week for a while, and then they cut it to $300. But you know who I blame for this? I blame all our congressmen and all our senators and all the people like that who run ahead without thinking this thing through. You take a look at the Republicans who don't want to spend any money. They are so cautious about spending money. Every single bill that comes before them It's an effort to get them to spend any money. But do they give a single thought to protecting the money that we are spending? No. If they let the bill go through, it doesn't matter. There are no controls over it. There are no insidious rules that have to be in place in order for people to collect the money that we're giving. And we give all this money out, and Republicans bitch about giving money out, but they have no controls put in place that make sure that this money is going to get to the appropriate people. And the Democrats are just as bad. The Democrats are giving this money out without a single thought. They want to give it out. They're in such a rush to give it out that they haven't had an inkling of any idea that there might be some dishonest people out there who are going to take advantage of the situation. We should know already the types of people that live in this country, and we should know that there are people who are going to take advantage. And yes, we should be prepared to put a stopgap measure in every one of these things. Now that will cause some people, now in many cases that will delay the process, and that would not be good to lots of people. And it will cause hardship on many people who really need this. But is it better? Is it better to have the money stolen? To have $45 billion go to people who don't deserve it? I think not. I think we have to tighten up everything. So you have to wait an extra couple of weeks. And maybe we'll put something in place to ensure that you'll be taken care of. But I don't mean we're giving money out. Maybe we'll give out some food stamps or something. I don't know how we should handle this thing in totality. All I know is that we leave the door open for those who are willing to step through it illegally. And this is not an ordinary door. This is more like a garage door. So while I think we're still a partially great nation, we have a long way to go to get our act together. And these wonderful programs that we develop to help people need to have a lot tighter controls in place. And yes, people might bitch because they're being watched more closely, but they have to recognize the fact that there are villains out there looking to take advantage of every penny that's available when they don't deserve it. And so I leave you with that. $45 billion pissed away again. Will it ever stop? I doubt it. See you in the morning. Bye.